Hello, I'm Sean, and this is kind of the prelude into the episode that you're about to see. First of all, I'm really lazy, so I guess the editing, and the crashing, and the re-editing, and then the re-crashing that has kind of slowed down the production, of this episode, and also just me being lazy and audio issues, that has kind of contributed to the late release of this episode. And I know that you guys are probably not even, paying attention to things anymore, but thank you very much to those subscribers who are out there right now, and everyone, come down, sit. I think this episode is quite funny, and I'm not saying that with a bias, I genuinely think it's worth a couple of laughs. Just a few things before we go into it. The audio quality kind of decreases as it goes on, and I have no idea how, but particularly with Shade, occasionally, his mic will drop down in volume descendingly, and then all of a sudden it'll peak back up. However, in the periods where it's really quiet, it'll be very hard to hear him. So I do apologize about that in advance. There was not really much I could do without completely stuffing up the audio quality. And also, just a new thing, this is going to be a two-part episode. Part 1, Basics of Skyrim. Part 2, which will be the in-depth storyline part of Skyrim, and that'll be released very soon. I'm also trying out a new things where instead of just having one picture, I'm going to get a couple of screenshots of videos, just related stuff, and put it on the video to actually give you something for your eyes to watch. That's if you want to watch it in the first place and you're not, off looking at other things while you listen. So I've just got some basic HD Skyrim photos for you to, look at there. I don't know, they're pretty good. So I guess I've babbled on for long enough. The episode is coming up in about, 5 seconds. Alrighty, sit back and enjoy. Hello and welcome to Cave Johnson's Guide to the Universe. I am Sean, and to my left is Muffin.
Hello. I'm eating.
Goodness, he's eating, isn't he? And to my right is Shade.
I am Shade, also known as the Turtle King.
Alright, well this is a new nickname for you. Alright, well this is good to know more about the hosts, Shade loves to be called the Turtle King, and Josh likes to eat ice cream in the microphone. Alright, so this is the two-part...
Like how else are we meant to know that he's eating ice cream?
Exactly. We don't want to disturb you. We're just recording a podcast, aren't we?
This is me licking it, ready? It's delicious.
Okay, well seriously, we've had enough. So this is the two-part special episode just for Skyrim. It's recently been released, and
it's amazing.
I know, right? Special episode. Episode number 2 is the first special episode. What a coincidence.
Brain freeze, fuck.
Okay, seriously, Muffin. Alright, so I think the best way to start...
Muffin, you are the worst human being.
I know, right? I think the best way to start would just to be getting into our first impressions of Skyrim. So, Shade, you had a very, sleepless experience of Skyrim, didn't you?
About 40 hours or so of Skyrim. my first impression, my very first impression, like, as you, are getting... you're getting casted to the execution or whatever. I just thought, wow, compared to Oblivion, it is just amazingly good.
Yeah.
I was just blown away by that first visual of the snowy mountains, and you got the barren wasteland going on with the alpine trees.
Hold up, I'm astonished.
I think they did it really good.
You lasted 40 hours playing Skyrim straight. Was there some sort of bucket?
Yeah.
Was there some sort of bucket involved?
No.
Was there a bucket?
I had
a bucket.
I had a lot of energy drinks going on, and yeah, I had I just got my mum to toilet me. Like, have you seen the Warcraft episode of the South
Yeah, I have.
Oh, just...
Where he's got the little...
Mom, I need a shit!
More hot pockets!
Bathroom!
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
That's exactly
That's how true gamers do it.
Yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, so I'm a long time Elder Scrolls fan. Like, I've played Arena and Daggerfall and Morrowind and Oblivion.
Wow.
And now Skyrim, and in total I've probably put in over 1,000 hours into Elder Scrolls.
Dude, you're old.
So I was really impressed.
You're really
He's
old.
dedicated.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah,
Muffin, how was
I'm
your
sort of a
basic
fanboy.
experience? Because for all we know, you went around picking flowers like the daisy collector you are.
Oh, you're so nice. My first experience was one such unpleasant because I was trying to hook up my surround sound speakers, but unfortunately my middle speaker failed, and I could only hear sound in my two speakers.
This isn't
So,
about Skyrim.
When someone was talking.
This is about
Yeah,
your
but
technological
it's-
problems.
No, it's Skyrim was unpleasant because of my technological problems. See? So I can only.
I'm just imagining Muffin like an old man, like he's got to cock his head
So
to the right or the left
which,
to hear you.
which hole does
What
this
you
cord
say,
go
Sonny?
in?
The red one goes in the red one.
Well, you're not supposed
that's
to know.
ridiculous.
You're the one that had trouble with your speakers. I mean, doesn't speakers just have like one plug into the PowerPoint and one into your
No,
computer?
surround sound speakers go like into the bass at the bottom, and like it's quite difficult.
Oh shit, you've got to plug things into the base, and then you've got to plug the base into
Yeah,
something
but
else.
Oh,
there's like
no!
a million chords. There's a million chords. There's like 1,000 million chords. There's like 2 billion chords.
Well, having assembled and disassembled a laptop and built 2 computers,
Yeah, shut up.
Nerd!
you are the worst human being, Muffin. But I love you.
Well, at least I don't. My religion isn't Elder Scrolls, so.
How is that a religion?
I'm
We
just saying
do
that
religions
worships.
in Elder
As I said,
Scrolls, and you decided to pick Elder
I've
Scrolls
put
as
in
a
over
religion.
1,000 hours into Elder Scrolls.
Alright, well,
Elder
He-
Scrolls may as well be my religion.
Alright, so I think we've had enough about Muffin's surround sound system and Shade's lack of sleep. I think it's time to get into the actual game. So the first mission, like Shade started on before, was you start inside a cart. A cart, I guess that's the best way to describe it, getting pulled along, and then there are some other really important people, but you don't exactly know who they are just yet. Muffin, would you like to explain a bit more?
Well, once you get off the cart, you are led to your execution, which is unknown what crime you committed. They do not know if you even committed a crime.
I actually
So
think they don't say that you commit a crime, they just round you up or something, and that scene when you get off the cart is actually when you get to...
It's implied that they think you were a part of the rebellion because you were caught near the High King or the
Yes.
guy who was
As he
assassinated the High
murdered
King.
the High King with his voice, which is pleasant.
Yes.
He was Thyum.
I think
Yeah.
there's so I guess the basics of it is there's 2 warring factions, and there's the Imperials and then there's the Stormcloaks. So the majority of the towns are controlled by the Imperials, and then the Stormcloaks are sort of the militia, the rebellion of Skyrim. They're trying to fight
They're
back.
the French resistance.
Exactly.
But without the sexy hats.
I know,
and
viva
the
la
baguettes.
resistance. So basically, sorry, that was really terrible.
That's not
Without
that's
the
not
guillotine.
French. That's
Viva. Anyway. All right.
But there is
yeah. I
some
think
sort of
Skyrim
guillotine.
is decidedly lacking in Che Guevara. But yes, continue. 2
Oh,
factions. What
no,
else?
I think that's an Easter egg. So, what happens is, once you get off the cart, you line up for execution, and you actually see the big head of the Stormcloaks right there, and I think you see some really important names of the Imperials there, but you don't actually know who they are. They keep mentioning the High King and Ulfric Stormcloak and General Tullius, and they're the leaders of each of the factions, and then you don't know anything about it, because they're essentially speaking gibberish to you. So, eventually you get up to the stage where it's your turn to get your head chopped off, and you actually see someone get their head chopped off, which is quite like 5 minutes into the game, seeing someone die brutally. You know, that's a good way to start.
It wasn't
And
that
I like
brutal.
how much
It wasn't
detail
brutal,
was
but
put into the
still.
first scene.
Oh,
I
definitely.
mean, there was so much detail put into the first scene. There's like the horses roaming around, and like the kid was like, "Who are those people?" And then
Yeah.
the king, the Ulfric Stormcloak had the mask on, which prevented him from shouting at anyone. It was all very
Yeah,
extravagant.
I didn't notice
was
that.
That was pretty cool. No, yeah, they even bring it up, don't they? They say that like he won't be able to shout or whatever. But one thing I did notice, which I thought was kind of funny, the character selection in Skyrim is basically they ask you your name and like where you're from and whatever. Like they're talking to you, and then you select your race and whatever, and then they do like a race specific thing. So
Yeah.
I was a dark elf, so they're like, "Oh, you're a dark elf." Like they only just realised just now that I'm a dark elf.
Yeah,
So
there's-
they were just talking to me.
Yeah, there's also a
It's
moment
kind of
where it's
ridiculous.
different, where a man tries to escape because he thinks, "Oh, I've done nothing wrong. I'm a petty thief," something like that. So he decides he doesn't want his head to get chopped off, but he doesn't want to take it like a man. So he decides to run away. And every time you play it again, that first mission, he dies in a different way. Like, whether I've seen one where he gets stabbed, I've seen one where he gets arrowed when he's just about to escape, one where he gets shot almost immediately after he starts running. So, even though it's just a minor thing, it really does, make it feel a lot more personal. I think Skyrim is a lot more personal than Oblivion. It changes the experience around you. So I guess what happens afterwards is you start to hear a dragon come along, and then all of a sudden your head is literally on the block, the axe is raised, and then a dragon comes down, and you don't know what the dragon is, but that's the big shot. That's Alduin.
You can tell that the dragon is a badass.
Yeah,
immediately.
Definitely, because
he has horns and shit,
Yeah, he looks like the king of the dragons, but you don't know that just yet. So the dragon comes along, breathes its almighty breath everywhere, burns everything, and you're saved.
Oh, it talks.
It does.
Remember, it's not breath. It's talking. Like
a verbal argument.
In Skyrim, dragons breathe fire and like mist and like ice and shit by talking. They say the anger.
Yeah,
there's a fun little note in the loading screens that a battle between dragons is actually a deadly verbal debate. because they use their voice to throw things at
you. They use
including fire.
The thum. I believe that's what it's called. And since you're a dragonborn... Thiam? I thought it was the thum. I've heard people pronounce it thum.
It's THU apostrophe UM.
Yeah, and I've heard people pronounce it thum.
Okay, gentlemen,
but people also pronounce Deus Ex Deus Ex, so I'm gonna say that I'm...
I call it Deus. I call it Deus Ex.
That's
because you're tired.
So the thing about the
so what happens next?
The shouting, I'm gonna call it Thum, and you can call it Thuum. But the way it happens is shut up. The way you're dragonborn, which means you can do that. Your blood has dragon blood in it, I guess. So you can understand what the dragon is saying.
Your mother did not use protection.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Articulate.
Perfect. Let me just...
Actually, no, he's wrong. A dragonborn is someone with the soul of a dragon, but the mortal body... With a mortal body, brother.
Sorry, Mr. Perfect. I was close enough. They don't need to get into the lore that much, do they? If they want to, they can just...
Close enough.
If they want to get into the lore,
has dragon
they can
blood
read The Lusty Aragonian Maid. Just saying. Good book.
I read Uncommon Taste, and I have decided to make that my life.
Oh, fantastic.
Make recipes from the Uncommon Taste.
Oh, these are all books in the game, if you're wondering what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, these are books, and some of them are definitely interesting, whereas some of them are brain-numbingly boring.
I only click on the skill books,
yes.
and then I don't actually read them.
Like, as soon as you see... I click on most books just to see if, like, it comes up going boom, and then just says, like, destruction, level up to blah blah blah. Like, if it doesn't do that, I'm really disappointed.
It's
the
a
value
fun,
has to be leveled
little
by
trick
50.
that you can do. You can tell if it's a skill book or not by the price. If it's over 50 gold or around 50 gold, then it's generally a skill book. Otherwise, you don't read it.
Also, if it has a symbol on the front.
From Morrowind. Oh yeah, I never really look at that, but sometimes they're in bookshelves, so you can't really tell.
Yeah.
But most of those books, the ones that are just to read, have been around since Morrowind.
Yeah, definitely. Like, not all of them have the symbol on the front, but I've noticed a lot of the destruction ones. The symbol for destruction it looks kind of like a hand holding a bowl of fire. But these are all skill books, and if you don't know and you have no education about Skyrim, then this is the episode to listen, because we're not going to spoil much except for the beginning stuff that you're no doubt going to encounter. So what ends up happening is, like, if you don't play the beginning mission, then I want to know how you hacked it. But, that wasn't intended to be funny. So you level up, and the thing is, in Oblivion, it was very specific. You chose what class you were in the beginning of the game without even knowing very much about what classes could do what, and you got like 15 minutes to play around, but you weren't given enough stuff to make your decision then. However, that decision is almost final, because you couldn't level up without leveling up your major skills. And you have to choose your major skills there, so you have no idea what you're on about. However, in Skyrim, you level up your...
Whoa, wait.
You have to sleep.
Wait a second. With Oblivion, yes, you did have to level up your major skills, but you could pick any major skills. If you wanted your major skills to be heavy armor and magic, then you could be a heavy armor wearing mage that uses swords and archery. If that's what you wanted. It wasn't very class.
Yeah, well, stupidly, I put security as one of my major skills. I mean,
That's because you're a tard. But I have always put acrobatics as my major skill, so I could just jump around everywhere because that's all I ever do. I just jump.
I am
yes,
glad
you've
that
been
they
in a-
removed athletics and acrobatics from Skyrim. I hated people who just speed around the world like it was no one's business.
However,
Oh, I loved Oblivion with full acrobatics and full athletics. Like you could jump on water in Oblivion, so I'd just be bounding across the land.
that's like
jumping on
cheating.
water. Yeah.
But anyway, so, Shade, the thing is, you're saying that from an experienced Elder Scrolls player, from someone that's played the majority of them beforehand, but for someone that joined Oblivion, that was their
All of
first
them.
Elder Scrolls game, like me, it was very, like, tough, because I didn't want to start the game again once I realized that I wasn't leveling up, because I put all my points in alchemy and security. But let me get back onto track. Jeez, we're talking about Skyrim. So, it's much more fluid because you can create your character just by playing as that character. Halfway through the game, you've decided, oh, I found this awesome sword, I want to become a warrior. You can just by using that. And what happens is, you level up each individual skill just by using it. For example, sneak, if you're stealing things, or if you're, you know, hiding when there's people there to detect you, that will level you up. In other... You know, in Oblivion, most people would just walk straight ahead as sneaking, and then they just level up all their sneaks straight away, and then they'd get completely overpowered. In this game, all those things like that will only level up if you're actually doing something with them. So eventually, once you've leveled them up, you'll get an overall level, and then you get a skill point to put into just one of the many trees.
A perk. A perk,
Skill
if you
point,
will.
a perk, wow, you're correcting me so
It's
much.
technically a perk.
Well, you know...
It's because you're bad.
You know what I'm saying.
I
Continue.
want to see them put in a reset feature for the perks, if you like. FG
Maybe
class
that'll
build
be
up.
like the
Ooh,
Horse
I-
Armor DLC. It'll just be like reset perk and it'll cost $5.
no, that-
$7
That'll never
for a
happen
reset
because-
book.
I'll tell you why that'll never happen. If you could reset your perks, then you can end up with the best armor,
Yeah.
best swords, and everything. That takes a lot of perks to get full enchanting and full smithing, and then you can just reset it, and then all of a sudden.
But
it
some doesn't
doesn't
people
matter.
just spam iron daggers. I'm looking at you, Shade.
Yeah, if you didn't hear the story last episode, Shade now has his own secret currency of iron daggers.
Iron
but-
daggers, enchanted iron daggers. No
Oh
less.
yes, they sell for quite a bit of money if you have enough. But just to finish off the basics of Skyrim, the good thing about the game is as soon as you get out of that first level, which we're not going to, you know, talk all about it because it's really an epic experience if you do it yourself. As soon as you're out, you're free, and literally you could go straight and do the main quest and do some pretty awesome main quest missions, or you could just literally go off, kill everyone in a town, steal all their stuff, and spend 4 hours picking flowers. It's freedom. Like in other games, you could. Okay, I'm going to use Oblivion again as an example. Maybe this is just me, and experienced players may not have had this issue. But what I did was, instead of going straight in the main quest, I went off and did all the side stuff to try and, you know, level myself up, to try and experience it, do the sandbox way. And I found myself getting completely owned by monsters because I went into areas that were way too high level for me. But it doesn't say that. In Skyrim, it's kind of different. Because you always seem to stand a chance.
Kind of different how.
I still get my ass stoned by a Drag or Death Lord. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
But I don't think you can find Drag or Death Lords until you at least hit a certain level.
There's a Drag or
I think
Overlord
around
in the
level 10 is
Overlord in the first dungeon.
No, not the first.
No.
What do you mean first?
There is
dungeon?
no
The
s-
first dungeon.
The second.
But I think there is a couple that are quest specific,
Yeah.
so you might be right. You can encounter one quite low level.
But I don't think you'll encounter the big high-level monsters until a specific point. Because, like,
Yeah, at around level 50, Drago Deathlords are everywhere.
yeah, and now I'm personally at level 34, you don't see the normal Dragors, and I can one-hit kill them if I do see them. So I guess that's kind of the good thing about the game. It's much more personal, like I said before, because the intro sequence is exactly the way you want it. Your perk and leveling up systems, if you choose the wrong stuff, it's yours at least, and you can be blamed for the mistake. It's very personal. You can spend all your points in pickpocket, and then you can spend the rest of
Who
your
does
points.
that?
I know pickpocketing is actually useful in this game.
I have never pickpocketed.
No, I don't want to get into details just yet. That's for later. But what I'm trying to say is the game is just fantastic in the way that it's a specialized experience. They have a new game engine, or maybe it's not a game engine, it's just a storytelling engine called, I think it's called Radiant, or Radial?
Radiant Story.
Radiant Story, that's it. And what ends up happening is what you do in the game can affect the story. Like, some things have happened where you do a specific main quest and people react to you differently, and I guess that's expected. But even if you do side quests, things that are completely optional and you don't ever have to do, it affects things, and I've seen it affect the main quest in ways too.
But this is my biggest gripe, and I am jumping ahead a bit here, but it is very relevant. I finished the main quest, right? And Elduin is the big bad of the game. He's the dragon of death, the eater of worlds. He's so, like, he's revved up throughout the entire storyline. You just learn about how he's just took over everything. When he was around back in the day, he enslaved the entire human race, and everyone's so, like, they shit themselves. All you have to do is drop his name, and you can end the war, at least temporarily. But you kill him. No, I was very high level and had the best armor when I went to kill him. So it took me literally 2 hits to kill him. But I guess it's
no, I do agree with you there. Because
no, let me keep going. There is more. You kill him, and I got nothing. No one gave you shit.
Yeah.
Everyone just kept going.
All you get. We're not gonna.
There was no parade on the street. There was no. Everyone's not rejoicing. Everyone's celebrating my name.
Everyone's going back to exactly what they were doing before, which is kind of anticlimactic.
I literally had no intervention.
I like
not even a thanks. That hey, thank you for saving us from.
I like when like a blood dragon or a elder dragon is attacking a city, and then one of the quest giver dies, and you have to resave and reload because.
They can't die though. They're immortal.
Yeah, some of them can. Some of the minor quests, like Michelin.
Yeah, they can.
Right. Well, yeah. Just to finish off, I'd like to what you said before about killing. Okay, we're not gonna. We have to spoil this because I think you can kind of expect that at the end of the game, the bad guy dies. So you eventually do go and kill Alduin, but the experience changes.
I think I already did say that.
I know. But I was level 34. And it took me a very long time to kill it, but that was because I decided to shoot arrows instead of use a sword like a, smart person. So that's really just establishing.
But for the Eater of Worlds, he's not very smart. Humans only powerful in in sword. Let's just go fly around him. No, he lands, and to kill a dragon, he has to be landed. The dragon will not die unless he's on the ground.
Unless you shoot arrows at it.
No, not necessarily. I've killed my fair share of dragons just by shooting them.
It is kind of irritating though. But it is really stupid.
A bow that does 200 damage.
And then later on you get a shout.
My bow does around 200 damage. It's great.
You get a shout. We haven't really mentioned the shouts in detail yet, but you get a shout that allows you to glue them to the ground. It's a really short recharge, and the recharge is less than a dragon shout. So what you can end up doing is shouting them onto the ground the first time, and then as soon as it recharges, shouting again, sticking them to the ground. They won't be able to fly away. You just spam a sword, get a companion to shoot some magic spells, dead. 3 minutes, 1 dragon. The first dragon kill is absolutely...
What do you mean 3 minutes?
Well, no, I'm talking about...
What do you mean 3 minutes to kill a single dragon?
No, the first dragon, when you're level 3 and you go and fight one of the main quest dragons, that is one of the coolest experiences I've had. Killing a absolutely awesome, powerful dragon. You don't even know how you killed that mofo. But it happens, and you feel like the king of the world. But now what happens when I kill a dragon? Just like, oh, it's a dragon. I stick it to the ground with my shout, and then I just spam sword, and then it's dead in like 30 seconds. It's kind of underwhelming.
I like when you kill a dragon, and then everyone walks off, and then you're absorbing the soul, and everyone comes back.
Yeah, because someone was shouting... I just killed a dragon outside one of the main cities, and he said, after I killed a dragon and I was absorbing the soul, the guard turned around and said, "Guard might get nervous. A man approaches with his weapon drawn." I'm just like, I killed a dragon! And then he walks off just like, back off you. Stupidity.
But it's quite disappointing actually. Dragons have become nothing more than a nuisance to me. I have 30 dragon souls last time I checked, just sitting there. They're not doing anything.
I completely agree.
I don't really need dragon shouts at all. Like I use dragon rend. That's the awesome one that glues into the ground. That's the only shout that I'll ever actually use. Otherwise, it's just entirely useless.
Okay, moving on from the complaints of the game.
Yeah. apart from that, seriously, these tiny little nitpicky things are the only issues that we have basically found about the game. But I think, you know what it's time for now? Do you know what it's time for?
Butt sex.
Apart from that, it's time for something completely different. Alright, so now for something completely different, like I said last episode, is the part of the show where we talk about something that isn't exactly relevant to what we're doing now. But since we're doing a Skyrim special episode, why not just talk about the stories that we've had individually in Skyrim? So Muffin, you've had a pretty awesome experience. Tell us more about it.
It was awesome for the first 30 levels, but I discovered that my class was severely underpowered past that. I was a rogue mage knight thing. I wore mage robes I used swords and I used spells, and it was really weird, and I got killed in 2 shots past level 30. Just anything would kill me in 2 shots. I'm not even kidding, it was really weak. And
Yeah.
and after yeah, keep going. Don't read any more. Go on.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. I don't really have a big story.
Wow,
No,
that
no,
was...
no,
That wasn't that great.
What an awesome story!
I-
Tell us more.
No. I had to delete that character, and I made a new one.
At level 30.
Yeah, I deleted it. I deleted all the saves in my rage. Just went to my documents, deleted all of them.
Wow. Well, that takes dedication. It proves how fun the game is if you can quit, 10 hours into the game and just start again and do exactly the same stuff and still be satisfied with it. Shade,
Yeah,
you've had some kind of experience because Muffin's was...
And
yours
I
was
think you
really
could call it an
anticlimactic.
experience. See, what happened with me? Yeah, Skyrim, brother. Let's start talking about Oblivion.
They're the same
Yeah,
game.
Skyrim is a very good game, but with a game of this size, you can expect some glitches. And Skyrim is very far from glitch-free. As most of us discovered, the main quest was broken originally. They may have fixed it, I'm not sure, but I managed to get past that. Anyway, so I was I was entering a town where I had previously killed a dragon. Now, when you kill a dragon, the skeleton remains, and it stays there permanently. I have Dawnstar. I kept going to Dawnstar, and dragons just kept spawning, so there's probably dragon skeletons just around that area, kind of blocking up the streets. But I forget the name. This is just a random miscellaneous town, and I fast traveled there, and the dragon skeleton that was normally there wasn't there. It has somehow gotten into the air, and it was now falling, and it landed on the quest giver that I was going to, that I'd finished this quest that took ages, and they were crushed by a falling dragon skeleton.
Oh, that is sweet irony. No, there are some real glitches with dragon skeletons.
My favorite glitch
Here's a hint
is
for
when you use
people at home, just about dragon skeletons. If you ever, once you kill a dragon, shoot a firebolt at a dragon and see what happens. It is seriously awesome. Like, we're not going to tell you what happens, but just do it. It's fun.
Oh, I haven't done this. This sounds
Exactly.
exciting.
You should go home and do it.
Use
Seriously,
it for
the physics,
skeleton
insane.
clearing.
Go home and do it.
Yeah, if you're listening
And you
to
know
this
what's funny?
somewhere else.
You know what's funny? The dragon bones are worth. They weigh 15 kilograms, and the effect that it has when you shoot a fireball at it is just insane. Just I think how heavy the dragon skeleton is, and you're shooting one single fireball at it. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
do that.
Yeah, there have been some
Yeah,
really...
the physics I've had real trouble with.
Yeah, there have been really... It's glitchy. It's Bethesda. You can't expect a glitch-free game. And I guess some people even expect it. That's part of the experience, surviving the glitches. I was doing a companion's quest.
Oblivion. I had fun times with paintbrushes in Oblivion because they didn't have physics. They'd just float.
Really? Wow.
And you could make ladders. Yeah, it was great. You could build walls with the paintbrushes.
And they never patched that?
No, I think they
wow.
might have eventually.
Well, I've really had some game-breaking experiences, and some of these are bad, some of these are absolutely hilarious. Like, I was finishing a Companions quest, and this is one of the ones where they induct you into the Companions. So what ended up happening was I fast-traveled, and all of a sudden my companion wasn't with me, but I didn't notice. So I went around the corner and went into the special ceremony, and then one of the dudes started talking to himself. He started going, "Who will speak in his defense?" 5 seconds of just blank, and then he'd go, "Would you raise your shield in his honor?" and then he said all of the special stuff, and no one was there, and I was glued. I couldn't move. I couldn't do a single thing. And then, eventually, he said, "And so it is." And then everyone walked off, and I was stuck. Standing there, I was motionless, there was nothing I could do. So I kept trying it again and again and again, like waiting 24 hours, see if Farkas would come. Nothing happened. So what I ended up doing in a fury, I ran up to them, started attacking all of the dudes, and since they're essential, they wouldn't die. So I just kept attacking them, and all of a sudden Farkas appeared, I put my sword back in my pocket, they all forgot about it, and then I did the ceremony properly, and it worked, and I got inducted. What the hell?
You know what I hate about the companion
Hey,
quest is
I'm
you don't
over
have a
here.
choice.
Pay attention to me.
Yeah,
And they're like,
as soon as
yeah,
you start
I
attacking
know.
someone, they pay attention.
That's how
That is good though. It's
how it always goes in my life. No one pays attention to you until you pull out a gun and start killing people.
yeah. I really think that the companions are incredibly glitchy. Like they despise magic. I was in a fight with one of them, and they just like, don't use magic. Don't be a little coward. So then at one stage I was doing another companions quest, and this guy was getting completely owned. So I decided to heal him, and he said, "Oh, that feels good. Oh, that feels good." And he stood up. And then he got knocked down again, and I kept doing it, and he's, at the end, I pulled out a magic weapon, he's like, "What are you doing? Magic is for little cowards." I'm like, "I healed you!" Companions, idiotic.
Yeah, I didn't really like the companions quest line at all. It was kind of lame. But I've noticed this, and this has kind of bugged me with all of the quest lines, like the Dark Brotherhood, Thieves Guild, you name it. They just end.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. There's like with the Companions Guild, I'd sort of raced ahead of everyone else. So then
Oh,
when I
don't
was
spoil,
at the
don't spoil.
very end- I'm not gonna spoil it, but you do some stuff and things, and I get the picture that the companions that were meant to be going in with you, they're meant to like congratulate you or something, but because they weren't there, it was sort of like, "Hey, yep, you're finished, good, thanks," and that's it. Nothing.
Yeah, that's...
Like I found the quest lines pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
Like they were fun and stuff, but there's no
Do you know what really grinds my gears?
gratification.
You know what really grinds my gears in the
that's
Dark
Family Guy
Brotherhood?
reference.
When...
Foreigners.
No.
You just hate those dark elves.
You know what
Are you
really
sure?
grinds my gears? Khajiits. I hate them.
They smell like shit.
No, they smell
Anyway,
like
yeah,
cat.
So, hey, I'm a dark elf. Gosh.
I wasn't saying dark
Sorry.
elf, I said Khajiit. The cat people.
You're
Oh.
an inbred with
Oh,
it.
No, seriously, I think what happens is they speak. Okay, I guess this is kind of virtual racism. They speak incredibly weirdly, and then they make fun of me for being a little bit sick. What the hell? Like, "Excuse me, you look a little bit sickly. Why don't you go have a rest?" I'm just like, "Shut up!" And then I killed him.
Except they're like, yeah.
But there aren't very many
They sound like
Khajiits.
Gollum sometimes.
There aren't very many Khajiits in Skyrim, so you wanna preserve their race. You wanna let them
No,
live
you
on
don't.
and frolic in the fields. You do.
No. I actually met Sorry. I actually met a... shit, I've got stuff in my nose. Sorry, I'll just cut that bit out. Shut up! Okay.
You're so fail.
Shut up. Luckily we're not doing it live. I actually found a compound of orcs. And these orcs were hated against everyone that wasn't an orc or finished some magic quest for them. So that was racism. And then he said, "No, you can't come in." And then I opened the gate, walked in, and no one seemed to care. However, no one would talk to me until I found this special item. They all said, "Oh, we don't like your kind here. Oh, just leave. You're stinking up the place." I'm like, this is complete racism. I killed all of them, and they had a Khajiit hiding in one of the safe rooms. I'm like, what? And the Khajiit couldn't leave. It was barred up. And I'm like, okay, this is really creepy.
I thought you knew that orcs love their Khajiit.
They're just like mounting them on the spit roast.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yummy Khajiit wing, just
Yeah, there are
take a bite
some
of that shit.
fantastic moments.
No, racism is a prevalent
Oh,
theme
Yeah.
within Skyrim. Like the dark elves, everyone that isn't a Nord basically is hated.
oh, definitely.
And I guess in this one compound, everyone that isn't an orc is hated. The dark elves, they're originally from Vanderfall, like Morrowind. Apparently some big bad wars going on in there, so they're all refugees. and they've all come to Skyrim, and they're hated basically. They're just in the slums. Like,
You know-
they're basically like refugees of today.
You know what I love?
Yeah, there are some
No one
peculiar
likes
races, just like, I think it's kind of stupid that the dark-skinned people, if you get what I'm saying, they live in a desert and they wear turbans and they use scimitars. Isn't that
Wait
a
a
Talking
bit...
about the
there.
Red Guard.
I think the lack
The
of
Alakir
racism
and the Red Guards.
against the Red Guards is
Yeah,
just
definitely.
there's lack of racism. You know, like people don't like be racist to your
Everyone
Red
insults
Guard.
everyone else.
Well, they live in the desert. I mean,
Yeah, the
that's their place.
Yeah, everyone seems to hate everyone else, unless you're a Nord, in which case you're loved by everyone, except for those orcs in that compound. But some orcs are really, really defensive of their stuff. Like once, I stole some ingots from some kind of blacksmith lady, and then I was just frolicking around picking flowers, and 12, no less than 12, hired guards and 3 pickpockets came up. I don't know how she had the money to hire all these people. They started attacking me. I ran into a city. The guards pulled out their weapons, killed all of them in about 3 hits. And then I looted all the bodies. I found a note saying it was from that lady. I walked back to her and she said, "Oh, hello, how are you?" I'm just like, "You don't expect that I'm dead?" So there are some kind of glitches like that. And I think
If you
that's,
read the
that's
note,
kinda
it
what
exact
makes
said-
same
Skyrim
thing
good.
happened to me.
Do you know they'd leave if you just let them
That-
hit you
yeah.
a couple times?
No.
The
They
contra-
didn't. They took me down to like
pretty sure
almost
they
Yeah,
death.
yeah. The note does say that they're not going to kill you.
They're hired
Yeah, the
mercenaries.
con-
I
the
think their
contract
job is to
says
kill
that-
me.
The contract says just maim him a little bit, you know, just
No, this one
Punch.
said, "I need you to murder this filthy thief." That's what the contract said.
Yes.
And then I go
Oh,
back,
you
I
got-
steal more of her stuff, and she doesn't care. And I guess that's the fantastic things about Skyrim. And I think wrapping up for the first part of the special episode, next episode we'll just have...
Oh no, we're not wrapping up.
Yeah, you see, that exact same thing happened to me, except only I had killed the person. Like, I snuck into their house. This is in, the
Riverwood.
town you go into. The first, yeah, the
That's a
first
town, not a
quest
city, by
I
the way.
got was-
Yes,
Shut
small
up.
town. The first quest I got was from some guy. His wife had been talking to some like Fiandol or whatever, and or not his wife, but the girl he was interested in, and he wanted to
Fendel.
separate them. So you had to deliver a you had to give the woman a note from this guy who's
I love this
not
quest.
the guy who likes the woman, but the third guy. Something I forget his name. Fiald and whatever.
Fendel.
And yeah, Fendel. You give this woman a note from Fendel, or the original guy, the quest giver, who's pretending to be Fendel, and it's basically, "Oh, I hate you, blah blah blah. I can never see you again." So then the woman stops seeing Fendel, and then the other guy can move in. And I just thought, well, why give the woman a note when I can just kill Fendel? So I snuck into his house. I started to steal some of his stuff, and he was sleeping in his bed. Somehow, he heard me stealing, even though he was asleep. And he's like, "Get out, you dirty thief!" So then I just killed him, and I went back to the quest giver, and I wanted to tell him that I'd killed Fendel, but he's just like, "Oh, hi, how are you? How you going?" Like, he just completely forgot. And then so I left this town because I hated it. And apparently Fendel had sent 3 highly armed and highly dangerous guys to kill me, even though I had already killed him.
Yeah.
So
He did that in his sleep,
Yeah.
obviously.
yeah,
It's a new thing. They're implanting
kind of a glitch
chips
in
back
game.
in medieval days where you can just hire mercenaries in your sleep. No, it is stupid if you
Aye.
start sneaking and stealing next to a person that they're sleeping. All of a sudden they hear like a pot being lifted, and then they just get up. They turn around and get out, you trespasser! Like
Yeah.
if you walk up to them and you don't do anything, they're like, get out. So I guess that's always nice, unless your sneak is over 9,000.
No, what you can do is with merchants, you can get a cauldron and put the cauldron onto the merchant's head
Yes.
to block their field of view.
They really
And
need
then
to
you can
patch
just
that. It is
steal normally.
way too overpowered because you can steal literally
It's
anything.
really funny though.
We just carry around a cauldron. It's like your personal stealing device. Hag ravens, how sexy are they?
Like cooking was one of the main things.
Haven't-
Everyone just got excited about cooking. I found like one cooking spot, and it was to make crap food that wouldn't help me at all. But I guess
Yeah, cooking is balls. Like it
It's-
does nothing. You
it's
get
so
like 10
stupid.
HP.
I want
from
to make a,
something that
s-
requires
I want
like
a
a
mod
million items.
so you can make a skooma den or something, and you need to refine moon sugar and shit, and make your own skooma
yes,
and like this
they
meth
need
lab.
to
Oh,
make drug
that would be
dealing.
fantastic. In Morrowind, you used to be able to get a skooma pipe, and you could make with moon sugar you could make skooma. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, well,
They need to bring back moon sugar and
Of
skooma
course.
pipes.
like that's necessary. If they don't do that, then I'm kind of ashamed. Modders have already started doing insane things though. Like I've got Google Street View on Skyrim. But I guess we'll talk a bit more about Skyrim next episode, because now that Shade is finished rudely interrupting me, we've gone a little bit over time, but we know that you will probably either enjoy or not even hear about this episode. So if you are watching this, thank you very much. Click wherever to see
We love you.
the next episode. We love you, just like Shade said. No one loves Muffin. Alright.
Very nice.
This is Cave Johnson's Guide to the Universe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening.
99%
People love
chance you have
muffin.
AIDS.
What?